Hello YouTube, my name is Striketh, and today I'm here to talk about a topic that is of some concern to me. This is an issue that started back in the days of pre-orders, continued into Kickstarter, and made its way into Steam Early Access. What is this issue? Well, it consists of game developers charging consumers for a game that doesn't yet exist or is incomplete. With the advent of Kickstarter, this became more rampant, but has gotten out of hand with Steam Early Access. But before we go further into that, we need to talk about pre-orders and go back in time a little bit. So the way pre-orders have always worked is basically as you can see here. You have a game like Dark Souls 2, which is coming out in March of next year, not out yet, but you can pay for it, pre-order now. Obviously your money isn't taken right yet. It doesn't actually charge you until the game comes out, which is good. The problem is the fact that they're accepting money at all. You're basically promising them that you're going to pay $60 when this game comes out. And for the most part, it's okay. I don't really have too much of a problem with pre-orders. Oh, a normal pre-order, that is. You know, when you get a little bit ridiculous with pre-orders, then I do have issues with it. But in this case, you're charged for a complete game on the day it comes out. That's fine, $60. No problem there. Of course, I remember the days when it was $40 for a new game, but that is a long time ago. But then we get into some more ridiculous pre-orders like the Titanfall Collector's Edition, which is $250. It comes with a fancy statue, but at this point, it's less about the game and more about the 18-inch statue that comes with it. To each their own, I guess. But, okay, so we have our pre-orders out of the way. Now we go to Kickstarter. Now, what is Kickstarter, if you don't already know? It's basically where developers can come on here, pitch their game, and then try and get people to pledge money for their project. And, you know, there's a certain amount of time that they can set for the project to be completed. And there's a number of success based on how popular the project is and a whole bunch of other factors. Nobody can ever really know if a Kickstarter project is going to take off when they first post it. There have been many that have exceeded their pledge limit that didn't expect to, and there are many that did not and expected to. The problem with Kickstarter is pretty much anybody can just throw their project on here, and what you end up with is a lot of really undesirable projects. You know, I mean, you can see there's a lot of these that have 0% funded or very little at all. And, I mean, these are relatively new here, but there's really not too much on Kickstarter that is really worthy of my money. You know, my first and only criteria for looking at a project on here is, do I want to play it? And for almost all of these, it's a no. Of course, there are board games on here, quite a bit, and the board games are quite fine. I'm actually cool with the fact that, you know, people are still making board games and they want to make board games. For the most part, the board games I've seen have been really quite interesting, and I know even Angry Joe and Total Biscuit were featured in one. So you look down this list, and the main thing to remember is that none of these, for the most part, are completed yet. They're usually just concepts. Just click on one in general, the Rage game. So, or like even this one, Ultimate Online Epidemic, new free server RPG. Like, it's not even developing a game. They want to set up a server, and they want you to pay for it on Kickstarter, which I find ridiculous. You know, if you can't afford to run a server, then don't run it. So you go in here and you get these little videos, and you know they give you a pitch and you know all that good stuff. And that's how Kickstarter works. And over here on the side, which makes Kickstarter slightly better than Steam Early Access, you have these little rewards that you get. You know, whether it's $1 or you know just a little bit more than that, or you can go up to $100 in this one. Some of them have I've seen up towards of $5,000 to $10,000. And, you get little perks usually and things along those, lines that really makes the Kickstarter project a bit more lucrative for people that put their money in. You have all these different things that, you wouldn't get otherwise. And they're produced just for the whole Kickstarter project. T-shirts, special goods, little figurines, and so on and so forth. And, you usually get little perks like you get the game before anyone else, you get to play the game before anybody in the beta, things along those lines. Well, ultimately, you're still promising money to something that isn't done yet, or might not even have started development. And it's very possible that they haven't even started the development of this project whatsoever. So I'm always really sketchy about these because you never really know. They make it look good, like, oh wow, like this is a game I want to play, but what do they have under their belt? I mean, you need to actually look at the company and see if they have developed anything. And if it's just an indie project with, like one or two people working on it, you have very little guarantee that it'll ever see the light of day. Which now brings me to Steam Early Access. Okay, Steam makes it very clear what early access is. Let me just focus on this one part here. What is early access? You get immediate access to games that are being developed with the community's involvement. These are games that evolve as you play them, as you give feedback, and as the developers update and add content. Sounds great, right? Well, here's my issue with this. There's 103 titles currently offering early access. 103. So let's actually look at some of these titles. Let me bring this over here. Okay. So your most popular, DayZ, of course. DayZ is the internet sensation right now. It's still an extremely early alpha access, but hundreds of thousands of people have bought it already. And then you have other games on here. I did a little bit of research into some of these. I really wanted to look into them. I wanted to make sure that I was 100% and I wasn't misconstruing anything, but look at some of these. Here's 8-Bit MMO, one of the more popular ones on here, right? So let's look at their dev blog. The very first post, introducing 8-Bit MMO, June 19th, 2011. We're in 2014 now, so this game is just over 2 years old, going into its third year. Well, it's about 2.5 years. So here's my issue with this, where this game is on early access, but it's been in development for 2.5 years. But they're still charging people to play it. I mean, it's 8-bit, right? But you have all these, the Steam Founders Pack and the Steam Founders Pack Deluxe, $10 or $20. And here's my issue with this. It's something that's been in development for 2.5 years, and it's technically free to play. It wasn't before, apparently. It is now fully free to play. And it's still accepting money, but it's technically early access alpha, which is weird, right? So let's look at another game. Close all this out. And this is one that really, really bothered me. Okay. Let me go back and grab this. The Dead Linger. Look at this. Alright. The Dead Linger is an alpha. Not even really anywhere close to being in beta, right? The last update on 12/24. And this is a game that has been in development now for a couple of years. Let me find their... Okay. I need to find their blog post. Here we go. this isn't something that just started, right? This is a game that's been around for a very long time now. And here's my problem with this. This game has been in development for over 2 years, and they're still in alpha, right? Not even close to beta. So they are charging people a good amount of money to play an alpha for a game that is not even close to completion and hasn't gotten really anywhere close to completion in the couple of years they've been developing it. It's down here a bit further in the list. It's not a super popular game by any means. Here we go. They're charging $20. $20 to play this game. And I mean, if you 4-pack, $60. I mean, look at this game. I mean, it looks like a game from 2006. I mean, this is the most recent video they posted on here. But, I mean, the graphics are terrible. They admit as much in their video. The zombies that they've created look really bad. Like, when I played Saints Row 3, they had better zombies and a better zombie attack in that game than anything I've seen in this one, right? I mean, this is an alpha. They're charging $20 for this. And it's something that isn't anywhere close to completion. So people are paying for games like this, and there's no guarantee that they'll ever be done. And I mean, right now there's 103. There was 104 the last time I looked, so one is obviously not in early access anymore. But this is becoming a real problem. Developers are getting into this whole routine where they're charging for products that are nowhere close to completion, and this has allowed them to basically take a 1 or 2 person shop, start developing a game, throw it on Steam, and start charging people for it, even though it's not done yet. All I need to do is get the framework down and a few basic features and start charging $5, $10, $20, $34.99, $60. I mean, these are alpha games. Why are people paying this much money for an alpha? It makes no sense to me. I mean, some of these prices are insane. $30 here for another one. And, I mean, if you actually look at the list, there's a whole bunch of games that are basically zombie survival games. It makes no sense to me. They just keep doing this. I mean, $40 and $30 early access. I think that developers have capitalized on the Steam early access in order to supplement income from other sources. And the problem here is that we keep getting these games thrown onto early access, but the quality of most of them is not really great. The developers developing them are usually unreliable at best, or have been doing this for a couple of years now. I think a lot of people that are buying these games and purchasing them don't realize that this has been an issue that's been going on for 2 or 3 years. I mean, they didn't just start developing this game like 2 or 3 months ago, or even 4 or 5 or 6 months ago. Like, there's usually years of development, and here we are dumping money into these developers, giving them our hard-earned cash for a product that's technically vaporware. I mean, it may never really ever be finished. And this has been an ongoing issue. I know that Angry Joe and Total Biscuit have both lightly touched on it, where you have consumers dumping their cash into alpha and beta games that never leave alpha or beta, that are literally in alpha or beta for years, and they just never really end it. I know Warframe was a game like that. Hawken was a game like that. Where you have founders packs. MechWarrior Online, another game just like that. You pay for the founder pack, and then the game is in beta for a year, 2 years, or however long, and do the developers ever actually add the features that they promised? Not always. Usually they don't. So, I think Warframe is the only one that's really been going full speed ahead on development and has kept their promises. I know MechWarrior Online is atrocious. So, that really makes you think. We have things like the early access and, Kickstarter, and people keep dumping their money into it, but where does it stop? What recourse do you have if the game never actually leaves alpha? If the game a year down the road is still in alpha or beta, are they going to refund your money? No, of course they're not going to refund your money. They've taken your money, it's gone, and either they dumped it into development and quickly wasted it and got nowhere, or they misjudged their budget and couldn't finish the game, or they bought a lot of beer and had a great time with your money. And then when it ran out, they just stopped development, and you have to be happy with what you've got. So it really just brings to mind a lot of questions for me. This is something that is really a plague to gamers everywhere, whether you're on PC or console, because a lot of these guys develop for console as well. I mean, when you have something like this where, you're getting charged full retail price or close to it for alpha games, and they blatantly say that they are early access games. When you go to this page, it says that they're still being developed. Games that are being developed. Some people are sucked in by the community's involvement part, where they think, ooh, well, I'm going to have a real impact on this game. And it doesn't always play out the way you think it's going to play out. The way it usually works is you have a forum that you can post on, and the developer might or might not listen to what you have to say. It doesn't, just because you post something doesn't mean they're going to actually listen to your feedback. And now you've still given them you've given them money for the game. I'm very iffy on things like this. Pre-orders, I don't even do pre-orders anymore. Only if I know 100% that I want a game day one and that it's not going to suck, which is very rare these days, will I ever pre-order a game. I personally cannot condone giving money to these developers. 103 developers I will not give money to until their product is complete and released on Steam. It makes no sense to me with the current form of early access to sit here and allow these guys to be in perpetual alpha or beta and just give them my money. Never before has a developer charged people to playtest their games. Usually the developers are the ones that are paying others to do this for them. At the very least, your game needs to be free so that you can have people playtest and give feedback. It's the alpha phase. You shouldn't be charging for a game that isn't finished or released yet. Not for an alpha game. It would be like if I just whipped up something really quick, threw it on Steam, threw a $10 price tag on it, and was like, oh, well, it's early access, support the game. And I might or might not finish it eventually. And that's all the guarantee you have, is that they might or might not finish it eventually. So, this is all I can say. I don't condone early access. I don't even really condone Kickstarter. Kickstarter, again, lots of crap projects on there. There's a lot of stuff that comes and goes on a daily basis. Things that nobody should be putting their money into or backing whatsoever. And it's the same thing with Steam. DayZ has been successful, but again, it's not even close to being completed. They're saying that it's not going to be fully released until 2015. Here's an article that I found. Look at this. It is a work in progress and therefore contains a variety of bugs. We strongly advise you not to buy and play the game at this stage unless you clearly understand what early access means and are interested in participating in the ongoing development cycle. Bohemia has said it doesn't expect the title to reach beta version with all key features present for more than another year. Another year! And I mean, look at this. They've sold over 400,000 copies. And this article came out not that long ago. Yeah, January 2nd. So, I mean, this is just crazy. I mean, this game is an early alpha, and hundreds of thousands of people have bought it. It's crazy to me. I mean, the game isn't anywhere close to being ready. That should be good, yeah. This is an alpha game, guys. You shouldn't be buying the game expecting that you're going to be actually playing this. I mean, they have character resets, there's going to be world resets, and a lot of people are just totally falling into the Steam Early Access trap. Developers have your money now. There's no incentive for them to keep developing the game. They could just say, well, we're done, and that's it, and just close shop. And now they have your money. I mean, the game is $30. Let's get our calculator out. $30 times 400,000. That's a lot of money. They have made a lot of money off of a alpha game, and nobody should have bought this game. They should have had alpha testers actually test the game for them so they could get into beta and release it. Because, I mean, at the rate that they're going, you're not going to see a stable or finished product until 2015. And they've stated that they may do a console port, but that you wouldn't see that until 2016-ish. So, are you really going to play this game that long? Do you really think that the player attention span is going to last that long? No. They'll keep selling for a while, and they'll keep player interest for a while, but it's going to definitely taper off after a while when people realize, oh, hey, I spent $30 for a freaking alpha. It's not even really playable. It's not even close to being done. So, I just don't understand why Steam Early Access is the way it is. I mean, it looks like Valve has pretty much allowed developers to get away with whatever. There's no time limit. There needs to be a time limit. When you put a game on Steam Early Access, there needs to be a set amount of time that the game can be on there. And you shouldn't be charged for the game while it's on Early Access. The titles should all be free. Then, when the game is taken off Early Access and released, that's when you set a price for it. I don't like Steam Early Access. I don't like the way it's set up. And I don't like how it just rips off consumers. I don't think Valve is ever going to actually listen to anybody on this because they're also reaping the benefits of this. I mean, they skim a bit off the top from every sale on Steam, regardless of whether it's early access or not. So, I mean, they are perfectly happy with the results DayZ has had. They've made their money. But I just can't support this. I can't get behind it. And I hope that you won't either. You know, some of you may have already bought DayZ. You know, if you have, great. If you haven't, I urge you not to. Wait for the game to be released. Watch it and wait. You know, there's a game like Assassin's Creed that came out recently. You know, would anybody really want a game that's a year from being ready to be released? I mean, like, oh, hey, here's an early access for Assassin's Creed, whatever. It doesn't actually work well yet. We're going to delete your character. Your game saves aren't going to actually save. And most of the dialogue isn't there. The character voiceovers are a bit iffy. We have robots talking in place of half of them. I mean, would you really want to play a game like that? No, I wouldn't. I want a complete experience. When I pay money for a game, I expect a complete product. And early access is not going to give you that. In many cases, you're never going to see a completed product. When you allow consumers to just give you all the money like that up front for a game that is complete, most developers are going to lose their incentive to finish the game and actually bring it out of early access or beta. So, wait and watch. That's all I can say. You need to take the time to really just watch games, see what developers do. Because if you don't, you're going to get burned. And you might think $10 here, $20 there, $30 or $40 or even $50 or $60 there isn't that much in the long run, but it all adds up. It's all money out of your pocket. And it all adds up for the developers as well. You know, if they have a game that sells, 20, 30, 100,000 copies or more on Steam before it's even finished, they're going to be like, oh, well, I can just keep doing this. This is great. I can never worry about having to finish a product. I can put it on early access. People will just throw money at me, and I'm set. And that's the way that developers are going to keep doing things if we allow them to. So we as consumers need to put our foot down and stop paying for games that aren't done yet. Anyway, I made my point. That's all I have to say on the topic. And I really hope that people start taking this more seriously and start really thinking about it more before they keep throwing their cash at developers. So thank you for watching. And feel free to comment in the comment section below. And if you liked the video, click the subscribe button above and subscribe. And I'll have more in the future. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.